Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is milestone number 2 for the SIP 88 proposal for Catalyst Fund 10 from Adam Dean. Adam, thanks for joining me again today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me as always.
Awesome. So there were, for the SIP 88 milestone number 2, we have 3 things listed in the deliverable. So I'm going to read those off here real quick. First is build a proof of concept chain indexer for registrations. The second one is validate the signature, and the third one is release this as open source tooling. So let's start with the proof of concept validator, if you'd like, Adam. Let's show that off a little bit and see how that looks.
Okay, well, so actually, we need to step back an extra step and start at the beginning, because we can't validate until we actually get some content on the chain and therefore read that out. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. So this is VeriGlyph, which is the name that I've given to the open source software package that will be published as part of this work on CIP 88. So first things first, what this is a simple front-end script that will allow us to create registrations, provide our policy keys, sign and submit the certificates to chain. So I'm going to walk through that entire process. So first I'm going to load up a saved registration I have here, and this is for a fungible token that I've made on the pre-prod testnet that only has a single token that has 6 decimals and 45 billion supply. You can see that we have an image here, and that image is being supplied via an IPFS link. We have a link to the website of this token, and then a name, a ticker, and some description information, basically all the information you would find in the Cardano token registry. So once everything looks good here, I've selected all of my feature sets that I want to be supported for this policy. I can go ahead and click Publish Registration. This is going to give me a warning saying that my wallet is not connected. So let me close this out real quick and get that taken care of. So now my Eternal wallet on pre-prod is connected. I can click Publish Registration, and now I can look at the JSON encoded payload that we're about to publish to the chain, the CBOR encoded hex encoded CBOR notation payload that's going to be published to the chain, and then see some information about the token policy that we're going to be applying this to. So we have a policy ID, the actual hex CBOR representation of the policy itself, and then the public key hash of required signing keys, which is going to be used during this next step as we add our policy signature. So I'm going to go ahead and add a signature here. Okay, and now we're going to provide our private signing key that was used for this token policy, regardless of whether the policy is open, closed, or anything in between. All we really care about is that the private key is going to sign the on-chain payload, which is then going to allow us to use the public key to validate that a legitimate certificate that should be trusted has arrived on chain. So I'm going to add this signature to our registration, and then I can go ahead and sign and submit, which is going to trigger an Eternal wallet transaction. And if we look at the details here, we can see that the transaction includes all of our metadata in the form of our label 867 CIP 88 native token registration. So I will go ahead and sign that. And once it's confirmed on chain, this window is going to disappear, and you'll see that the transaction ID here has updated with the most recent publication of the certificate for me. So if we gave that a few minutes, we'd be able to go to pre-prod on Cardano scan, grab this transaction ID, and we'll be able to see that this certificate has successfully arrived on chain.
Right on.
All right, to give this a
Yeah.
minute.
This is just a small transaction, right? Like what's the transaction fee involved in something like this?
Yeah, so this is only taking an average of, you can see these most recent test transactions I've done here. So about 0.19 ADA per registration.
So really not anything more than sending ADA from Mary to Bill or whatever.
barely more than just sending a transaction to yourself, because the metadata is highly condensed, very optimized for size. So usually we're not getting over a couple of 100 bytes worth of metadata that's being published on chain to provide all of this great and rich information downstream.
Fantastic.
And so here we can see that transaction that we just published is live on Cardano Scan, and our metadata is right here as expected. We have a version, we have a data context payload that describes the policy, the feature set, the signing method, which in this case is 0, means that we're using ED 25519 key signatures, the native policy specific information for individual fungible tokens. And then down here below, we have the public key of the key that we use to sign, and the signature, which is the signature of the hex encoded body of this index number 1 block.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
All right. So with all that said, we can jump over here to our indexer. So I'm going to go ahead and hide this. We're using a basic Aura configuration, and I will go over here and nano into config.toml so that we can see we're doing a basic node-to-node connection on the pre-prod testnet. And I'm going to actually get the correct point so that we can grab that most recent transaction from Cardano Scan. All right, so now as soon as we go ahead and start up our Aura in daemon mode, we should see that most recent validation that we just submitted to the blockchain get picked up by the VeriGlyph Sentinel program, watcher program, get validated and verified. So I'm going to go ahead and run Aura, and we can see almost instantly down here below, we got some information. So we see that Sentinel is parsing. We are parsing a version 1 certificate. We are validating in the native script context. We are parsing a certificate for policy ID of this big long string. The value of the decoded script included in the certificate matches the specified policy ID, so that's our first check.
Perfect.
The witness public key was found as one of the required signers of the script, and the provided signature is valid for this certificate. Ergo, a valid certificate has been recorded. And now this program can feed downstream into a database to be stored for later and retrieved for the program of your choice that might be consuming these SIP88 registrations.
Very good. So this we can go to let's zoom out to like a 10,000-foot view now. What you've got here is the ability for a token project, whether it's an NFT, an FT, whatever it is, to take and register data on chain that matches with the it kind of tells the community what that token means, who it's for, what it's about, what its images are, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, so there's a couple of reasons why I think SIP88 is really important. And first and foremost amongst those is for NFT projects. Right now, you create a new NFT project or a new mint or even an airdrop that you want to give to reward your holders, and you have to go to JPEG and tell them oh, well, that policy should be named this, and here's a banner image and a profile image, and I want my royalties to be 5% and go to this address. Well, then you have to go and do it to Way Up, and then you have to go and do it to Grab It, and then you have to go and do it to Drop Spot, and then you have to go and do it to Create, and then you have to go and do it to Token Write. And it's a huge burden, and all of these things have disparate methods of validation and verification. So the beauty is SIP88 allows us to publish this information one time, and for all downstream interested parties to cryptographically verify that this information did in fact come from us, the owners of the policy in question, and they can utilize the information contained therein to provide a rich user experience when dealing with our NFTs. The kind of second fringe benefit of that is throughout the history of the NFT ecosystem on Cardano, we've had to do things like include information about like, oh, this collection name is called X in the metadata of every single NFT, because we didn't have this global policy level information that could be accessible to chain indexers. So hopefully we can also use this to minimize the amount of duplicated data that we see in all 10,000 tokens of an NFT project, because we can declare things like social media handles and websites at a parent level, meaning we don't need to have that on every single token underneath that policy.
Absolutely. Oh, that's excellent. And so some good streamlining. I think it's super important to just put a pin in the idea that's cryptographically signed. So this means that a fake space bud will not be the real space bud. Like it will be very obvious what the real NFTs are from the real site, because they were they've been signed by the project, and the project's able to communicate that information out. Whereas we've seen it in marketplaces where fakes have been out there, and if they've been sold over the years, it's definitely happened. So this should go a long way to help the marketplaces eliminate some of that fraud and waste.
Yeah, that's definitely a future expansion that I would like to see in SIP88, is further tying some of the proof of website or proof of social media to really provide almost a DID context that can also be programmatically verified, so that if you're saying that your website is adamsbread.io, the downstream watchers had better be able to validate that. Otherwise, they should raise a flag saying, hey, I can't say for sure that this is actually a policy or an NFT belonging to adamsbread.io, because the website itself is not validated.
Very cool. Very cool. A great future step there for this as we move along. Speaking of future steps, the next milestone that we'll be covering, because this does what we've seen here. We've seen the proof of concept. The code base will be linked in the proof of milestone, proof of achievement that we're about to issue. And so you'll be able to see the code. You've now seen the validation occur on chain and in real time. So for the milestone reviewers, they'll be able to close out this milestone 2, and the upcoming future work that we're going to begin is for milestone 3. This is you're bringing this final specification to the NFT projects and marketplaces, looking for 5 projects and or marketplaces to at least have letters of intent, and at least one NFT project has completed the registration with a valid signature, and at least one NFT marketplace has is using the tool to begin the process of being able to take this registered data. And we happen to know an NFT marketplace that's really interested right now. That's definitely going to do that.
We actually have several. I have several that are already very interested. So I think we're going to be well beyond our stated goals when it comes to adoption next month at the completion of this milestone, or at the completion of this project.
Yeah, so that's great. So that's coming soon. Now that this is done, and you can also say congratulations, Adam, because SIP88 is actually approved now. It is actually in
It's officially merged, although still in a proposed status until we complete this actual mainnet adoption step that'll be coming next.
All right, fantastic. Well, Adam, thank you. We have now definitely closed out Milestone 2. Milestone 3 is well underway, and we'll be able to get to that closeout video soon as we progress through the process here. And if you guys, obviously, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out to Adam or myself, and we'll get your questions answered. And thank you all for your time, and we'll see you next time.